starting our program shortly. We are all gathered here to condemn the Saudi and American barbarism, yet again, another crime against humanity. So before we start the programs, we would like to make sure that we raise slogans against a barbaric assault, against the revolutionary spirit of the people of Yemen. So please chant after me. Shame, shame, Saudi Arab!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arab!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arab!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arab!
And as you know, the arms and ammunition are provided by the United States of America. These are American planes, as usual, dropping American bombs by the Saudi pilots on the civilian population of Yemen. Shame, shame, USA!
Shame, shame, USA!
Shame, shame, USA!
Shame, shame, USA!
No war on Yemen!
No war on Yemen!
No war on Yemen!
No war on Yemen!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia!
No arms for Saudis!
No.
Say,
Shame, shame, USA!
shame, shame, Al Saud!
Shame, shame, Banu Saud!
Very soon, Al Saud will be in the same place as Saddam Hussein, inshallah, and the same place as Hosni Mubarak. Shame, shame, Al Saud!
Shame, shame, Banu Saud!
Shame, shame, Al Saud!
Shame, shame, Banu Saud!
We're going to try to post this video on Yemeni's website so the people of Yemen know that people in Canada, the peace and justice loving people, stand in solidarity with them. So I'd like you to raise your hand for the video. Al Saud!
Shame, shame, Banu Saud!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia!
Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia!
Shame, shame, USA!
Shame, shame, USA!
Shame, shame, USA!
Shame, shame, USA!
Are innocent civilians, and this bombing, as the person before me just said, is being perpetrated by one of the most reactionary regimes in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and they're being backed by one of the most reactionary regimes in the entire world, the United States of America. My name is Faylene. I'm a member of the Toronto Coalition to Stop the War, and I'll be chairing the rally today. We have several speakers. This rally has been organized and supported by the Toronto Coalition to Stop the War, by several mosques and centers in Toronto, by the Canadian Peace Alliance, and by many other groups. So thanks for coming out today. Just as we stood in solidarity with the people of Iraq, as we stood in solidarity with the people of Afghanistan, today we're here in solidarity with the people of Yemen. Our first speaker I'll introduce is Ken Stone. He's with the Hamilton Coalition to Stop the War.
Thank you, sister. Brothers and sisters, the Hamilton Coalition to Stop the War would like to add its voice to the growing chorus of condemnation of the Saudi Arabian attack on Yemen. This attack by the richest country in the Arab world is in complete violation of international law and the Charter of the United Nations. It is regrettable that the UN Security Council did not take official action, collective action, against all those countries involved in this flagrant Saudi aggression on the people of Yemen. In this Saudi attack, we see the hand of the U.S. empire. For years, U.S. President Barack Obama has voiced the language of, quote, American exceptionalism, end of quote, to try and justify his inhumane campaign in Yemen of extra-legal assassination by unmanned drones. Now, just behind the scenes, the U.S. is coordinating this Saudi offensive against Yemen. It admitted that it is helping to direct Saudi coalition airstrikes, and it plucked out of the sea the first Saudi pilot downed in this war. As Canadians, what should we do? Well, I'm going to read to you what our Canadian government has to say. You tell me what you think of it. This is our Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Rob Nicholson, on March 27th, 2015. Quote.
Not honorable. That's honorable. Not honorable.
Right, not honourable. Quote, Canada is concerned by the deteriorating situation in Yemen, resulting from the ongoing military actions taken by the Houthi rebels against the elected government of President Rabu Mansour Hadi and Prime Minister Khalid Bala. Canada supports the military action by Saudi Arabia and its Gulf Cooperation Council partners. Shameful indeed. And others to defend Saudi Arabia's border and to protect Yemen's recognized government at the request of the Yemeni president. Canada has strong and diverse relationships with GCC members and stands behind the recognized government of Yemen. We are monitoring developments closely and are in close contact with our partners and allies in the region. We strongly urge the Houthis to immediately halt their provocative military actions, and we urge all parties to return to negotiations. Brothers and sisters, is this your view?
No!
Do you believe what the Minister of Foreign Affairs has to say about the Saudi Arabian government?
No!
Are we supposed to be in alliance with a coalition of people who are breaking international law every day?
No!
Bombing innocent civilians?
No!
Destroying civilian infrastructure?
No!
These are all war crimes, brothers and sisters. Our Canadian government should roundly condemn these crimes. Also, we should also insist that the Canadian government stop supplying military equipment to countries in the Saudi-led coalition. The Canadian government recently authorized the sale of $15 billion worth of military equipment to Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is one of the most reactionary regimes in the entire world.
Money for blood.
Stephen Harper posits militarism as a core Canadian value. He calls Canada, quote, a warrior nation, end of quote. This is a lie, brothers and sisters.
What a loser.
If you ask most Canadians, they will tell you that they look fondly back at the time when the government of Canada defended international law and institutions and contributed to many UN peacekeeping missions. Instead of today sending troops to stir up trouble in the Middle East and in Ukraine. Finally, brothers and sisters, we need to lobby the opposition parties which voted against the military mission in Iraq and Syria and say they don't trust Harper's motives. Let them demonstrate that mistrust by pledging to cut off arms sales to Saudi Arabia if they form a new government in October. Let them also promise to create an independent foreign policy for Canada, independent of the USA, independent of NATO, and one that is geared to peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think it's really important regimes like the terrible regime in Saudi Arabia. And if you look at what Harper is doing here, he's trying to divide and conquer here in Canada. He's introduced Bill C-51, the so-called anti-terror legislation, to try and target Muslims in this country. And we can't let him do that. We can't let him divide and conquer. We have to stand up against the Islamophobia of the Harper government. Say no to racism, no to war. Our next speaker is
Number 3, that the people of Yemen, all the various factions, should be given an opportunity to sort out their own internal affairs.
Yes!
Number 4, that we should demand that humanitarian aid should be sent to the people of Yemen, the poorest country in the Middle East, so that those people can at least have food in their children's stomach. And in the meantime, we continue to raise our voices and demand that our own government sitting in Ottawa terminate that military contract to supply $15 billion worth of weapons to that criminal regime in Saudi Arabia.
Yes!
You know, as was mentioned, Saudi Arabia is the country that imports the largest number of weapons every year. It's the largest importer of weapons in the world. Its military budget is $80 billion a year. And yet they are so incompetent that even with $80 billion in weapons, they beg countries like Pakistan and Egypt and other countries to send them army troops so that they could fight the war on their behalf. We need to know, I mean, of course, Saudi Arabia signed in 2010 a $60 billion arms agreement with the United States. Only one country, Sweden, had the honor and the integrity to terminate their arms contract with the Saudi regime because of their atrocious human rights record.
Yes!
In Saudi Arabia today, there are 40,000 political prisoners.
Shame!
Why don't they allow those people, and what is their crime? They simply asked for political reforms. They didn't even ask to overthrow the government, although I will say, yes, we should overthrow that criminal government.
Yes!
Those poor people simply asked for political reforms, and the Saudi regime issued a decree saying anybody who calls for reforms is a terrorist.
Bring your justice down on them.
Yes, absolutely. Who is a terrorist? I believe those people that even consider a call for reform to be terrorism, they are the real terrorists, and we need to hold them before a court of law.
Yes!
So we demand of our own government here to stop this military contract with that despicable regime. And we, as Muslims, must strive with our fellow Canadians to create awareness in the world about the regime, that despicable regime, so that we can bring an end to the terrible things that they are doing in the world. Brothers and sisters, I want to end with this optimistic note. And that optimistic note is that I see clearly that this Saudi regime is going to be overthrown very soon. This regime cannot last for too long. I believe that this regime is going to go away, and we really need to work towards empowering the people of the Arabian Peninsula so that they can get rid of this regime. Inshallah. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Some wonderful big signs there, but you're able to hold on to them even in this wind, because we are out here for a very, very serious purpose. We are once again, for I think the umpteenth time now, it's been dozens and dozens of times that we have had to stand out on street corners in this city and stand in support of self-determination for people who are being invaded and people who are being bombed. We've been out here before in opposition to the invasion and occupation of Afghanistan. We were out here again in opposition to the invasion and occupation in Iraq, and countless other times in support of Palestinian self-determination, in support of self-determination anywhere in the world where the imperial powers are trying to intervene to gain their own interests. And we need to understand that that is what is behind this. If you want to scratch the surface, what we see here is the United States with its designs of attempting to control the entire region. They want to control the world, but what they're running into is resistance. They're running into resistance everywhere around the world, and we are going to stand here with that resistance in opposition to imperialism, as we will on every single other occasion. We also stand in opposition to the government of Canada, this incredibly racist, warmongering government that we have in Ottawa right now, that is not only supporting bombing in Iraq and in Syria, They are doing so, of course, again, for their own interests. If you actually take a look, Canadian oil corporations have a ridiculous amount, $4.2 billion invested in northern Iraqi oil fields. They don't care about Iraqis. They don't care about Syrians. They're there to do this for themselves and for their own benefits. And we're going to have to stop them. They also spend your taxpayers' dollars to guarantee contracts for military weaponry that is being sent to the Saudi government. It's not just a question of the weapons manufacturers making money. They are taking your money to make sure that those contracts actually get signed, which is why we need to mobilize, not just now specifically against the bombing in Yemen, but against the entire foreign policy agenda of the Conservative government, whether it be their absolute blanket support for the State of Israel, whether it be their warmongering in Ukraine or in other parts of the Middle East. We must stand in opposition. There is a resolution here that has been developed by a number of the people who are organizers of this rally here today. Zafar actually went over some parts of it. I want to take a look at some as well, because I have two organizations across the country. The Canadian Peace Alliance is a network of 120 labor, faith, community, and social justice organizations across Canada. And this is the resolution that is going to be put forward. On behalf of all peace-loving Canadians standing here in solidarity with the victims of barbaric Saudi and American assault on Yemen, number one, we demand an immediate cessation of the aerial bombardment of Yemen, which has resulted in the loss of over 2,500 lives and displacement of over 100,000 individuals. We strongly condemn the biased and one-sided UN resolution that attempts to punish the oppressed rather than the oppressor. Unfortunately, that's what the United Nations has a tendency to do. We strongly condemn the supply of bombs and other arms by the U.S. to the Saudis and demand that America immediately stop these arms shipments and stop adding yet another crime against humanity to its shameful record. We condemn the multinational oil companies that are stealing oil from other areas of Yemen and are not paying fair market price to the local population. This is, again, another standard of the imperialist powers. They are pillaging wherever possible throughout the region. We believe that the people of Yemen should have the right to determine their own destiny without outside interference or pressure. They should have the right to self-determination and to freedom. We, the representative gathering of peace and justice-loving individuals, stand in solidarity with the people of Yemen and I love this point, are confident that the imperialist design will fail to dampen the revolutionary spirit of the masses. We stand with the revolutions throughout the region and throughout the world in opposition to the imperialists and the warmongers, and we will be out here as long as it takes to stop this brutal Saudi attack on the people of Yemen. Thank you very much.
Sham, Sham, Saudi Arabia! Sham, Sham, Saudi Arabia! Sham, Sham, Saudi Arabia! Sham, Sham, Saudi Arabia! Sham, Sham, Al Saud! Sham, Sham, Al Saud! Sham, Sham, USA! Sham, Sham, USA! Sham, Sham, USA! Sham, Sham, USA!
Thanks, I want to say, Cynthia, thanks for coming out. And I think it's important that of course, we know why we're here. What do ordinary people in Yemen want? They want the right to survive, to exist, to bring their children up, to determine their own futures without being bombed by bombs that are being paid for by the Americans and launched by the Saudis. They want the same thing that the people in Iraq wanted, the right to determine their own future. The same thing that the people in Afghanistan wanted, the right to determine their own future without imperialist and Western intervention. We all want the same thing. In Canada, we want the right to live without being targeted, for example, by Bill C-51 that the Harper government has brought in. Several people today mentioned Vietnam and the anti-war movement at that time, 50 years ago. Just before I came out today, I was actually listening to Bob Dylan. And I think he wrote a song 50 years ago that still holds true today. It's called Masters of War. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. And I think it can be directed to the Saudi government, to the American government, to the Canadian government, to the Egyptian military government, to any government around the world that's trying to prevent ordinary people from living our lives, the future of our children. And it goes, "Come, you masters of war, you that build the big guns, you that build the death planes, you that build all the bombs, you that hide behind walls, you that hide behind desks. I just want you to know I can see through your masks. You who've never done anything but build to destroy. You play with our world like it's your little toy. You put a gun in my hand and you hide from my eyes. Then you turn and run faster when the fast bullets fly. You fasten all the triggers for the others to fire. Then you sit back and watch while the death count gets higher. Let me ask you one question. Is your money that good? Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? I think you will find when your death takes its toll, all the money you made will never bring back your soul." So I want to thank everyone for coming out today, and we will be out here again, I'm sure, until the bombing in Yemen stops, until the people there have the freedom to determine their own futures, not have them determined by Western governments or by the Saudi regime.
It's a good effort and a good deed. The least we can do at this stage is at least to show our opposition, and that is at least what we are accountable for, so that when people in Yemen are watching it, if we are able to post it on various websites, they know that there are people around the world, no matter how small their numbers are, who are standing in solidarity with the oppressed masses of Yemen. So please raise your hands after me and say, "No war on Yemen! No war on Yemen! No war on Yemen! No war on Yemen! Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia! Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia! Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia! Shame, shame, Saudi Arabia! Shame, shame, Al Saud! Shame, shame, Al Saud! Shame, shame, Al Saud! Shame, shame, Al Saud! And all these puppets are controlled by one puppet master that keeps on using various puppets, whether it is through Saudi Arabia, whether it's through the Bahraini government, whether it's through the Sudanese government. So let's make sure we also condemn that puppet master that continues to supply the arms and ammunition that are dropped by these Saudi and other pilots on these defenseless population. Shame, shame, USA! 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 And I want to end with the criminal Stephen Harper, who has unfortunately made Canada, which used to be a country which was neutral, and most of the Canadians are peace and justice-loving individuals who would like to be either with the oppressed or at least in the position of neutrality. Stephen Harper is continuously trying to push Canada to become subservient to the United States. So let's make sure we condemn him also. Shame, shame, Stephen Harper! 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 Once again, I would like to thank everyone, and I would like to request all of those who had taken the signs to please put them back near here. And again, may God bless you for your participation today, and I hope that you'll continue to watch the websites of Canadian Peace Alliance and anti-war coalitions for the future action that we will continue to take in solidarity with the Yemenis.